I've been toying with the idea of putting these boards, so you know how I've put the black boards there, I've slipped a black board behind here, and my original plan was to go and do, what I was going to do was either paint the back of the tanks black or paint the back of the tanks blue with like an acrylic artist paint, but I never got round to doing it. And now they're obviously in place, so using them boards would have been ideal. But I came across a bit of an issue, so on this rack, putting a board behind works, I can fit one, but because it's black, that corner looks really, really dark, even if I put sort of lights across it. So I'm in the process of testing painting blue onto this, blue acrylic, see how it works, and we'll have a look at the results in a second. So I've probably already released the video of me moving the first batch of galaxies across, and if that's the case and you follow the channel, you'd have obviously watched that. But this is the tank that I want to put that board across that I've painted. So let's get that board across. I need to select a few of these, but there's a few with that sort of creamy bronze back as well, which are quite nice. So I moved 2830 across, something like that. I was going to clip this out, but thought I'd show you this guy scratching his butt. And there we have it. So the board was painted blue. I obviously need to just drop it down a bit and slip the other tank in when I actually get there. But I think the blue, specifically on that tank, looks a lot better. I do like the black on these short, smaller ones, and the ones below are difficult to sort of, well, I don't know, I think blue would be nice behind them, but I also think black would work, but it might make them too dark, which is why I painted the walls blue actually. But I do quite like this. It's a bit of a darker blue, but it is nice, and I think it works well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Following on from that previous video, or the clips in videos gone by, I'm just in the process of catching and moving some more of the galaxy shrimp. So I moved a few over a few days ago. I started catching this morning, noticed there are a lot of babies in there, so I think what I'll probably do for now is I won't move any of the babies. I'll try and catch the adults and leave the babies in the tank they're currently in, almost as a grow out tank. I think that'll be, you know, way better until they become juvenile, and then I'll move those. So I'm in no rush to actually empty this tank or do anything else with it. Thinking sort of logically, I think what I'm probably going to do though, once I do move that, is I'm going to move my mixed tigers down. So I've got sort of my normal mixed tank, you know, and a mixed tiger tank, and within that mixed tigers I may move my lower grade fancy tigers. Although the pH is a little bit higher than I keep them on, so it's still undecided. Truth be told, I probably won't move them. If anything, they'll go in the mixed tank, not the not the mixed tiger tank, and I'll use the mixed tiger tank to sort of thin out certain things as and when I need to. Haven't caught all of them. There's probably a fifth left, but there's a good 50 in here I need to have a look at, and I'll move them all before I start selecting, because I want to sort of select with comparison sort of for face on. But selecting as in taking sort of calls out, moving those to the mixed tank. But let's get these drip in, and that's another part done. And as I mentioned, I'll leave all the babies, I'll leave it as a grow out tank for a month or two. Only doing a small drip, probably 50–60% on top, and quite fast. The parameters and the soils they're moving to are very, very similar, and the TDS is slightly lower in the one they're being moved to, so just a bit of a drip down, and we'll move them across. That's enough dripping for now, so let's get these in the tank. I'm going to put these in slightly differently. There's over 100, and I've obviously got a load of babies and still a few adults left in there. But thanks for watching this bit. I love moving shrimp. I've got the Fancy Tigers to move next, but I need to get the other tank set up first. It's currently Sunday the 2nd of June 2024, and as well as doing water changes, I'm in the process of using a reset tank. So what I've done is I've drained 90% of the water out of the little tank that was in blackout, and I'm about to select some shrimp from my Blue Bolt tank to go into that tank. They'll definitely be dripped in, these ones, because they're going on to a different soil. So fingers crossed, hopefully everything will be okay. And then I finally moved the last of my adult galaxies across. So let's flip this camera around and show you guys what's sort of going on. So apologies for the reflection, but this is the tank with environment that I'm thinking of moving a few blues into. What I'm probably going to do is just move a couple of tester shrimp over first and see how they get on, and then move them back and select the shrimp that I want to select. But the galaxies, have moved the galaxies out, and if you remember from earlier in the video, then there was a lot of algae in this tank all across the bottom, cotton algae, and just look at it, they've absolutely mullered that in literally a couple of days. But at least they're up where I want them. There's not really much, there's maybe a couple in there that I'd probably select from, and I definitely think I need some fresh blood for quality. But I'm doing this sort of online with water changes. So these are currently topping up. So I've done the top tanks, done about 15% on them today. Still need to do the not the Galaxy, the Fancy Tiger tank, but I just want to make sure, not the Fancy Tiger, the Tangerine Tiger. I want to make sure that I've got enough water in the tub. If I haven't, and I'll do it in the next batch, because I like to mix my water and get that all set up and ready. But if we look down to the blues, so there are a couple in there that are, don't know if you can see very well from here, but there are a couple in there that are well worth selecting. And there's a good handful of really good shrimp in there, sort of crazy blue and dark blue, you know, full blue. But I don't want to move them across until I've done some tests with some lower grades, just because if I lose all them, I'm going to be heartbroken. Just following on from that, you can see that there's a lot of mold built up in this sort of mixed tiger tank. So long-term plan is that's going to be a selection breeding tank, and I'll probably move those mixed tigers down into either the tank where the galaxies were, but at the moment that's a grow out for babies, or into the Fancy Tiger tank when I've moved those. But again, if there's babies in there, I'm probably going to leave those for a grow out until they're sort of grown out. But I also have a tank down here that's cycled and ready to go on environment, so I don't know what I'm doing with that yet, but we'll have to wait and see. So I did have enough water, just so that pump actually drains right till there's nothing left. It's called a zero by Seachay, and I've gone over a 20% slightly on this one, just because I do feed this one quite heavy. There's a nice little buried female there as well. Just because I do feed this one quite heavy, and I was running the hose pipe round trying to get the empty snail shells. I've only managed to do this side, but I think I'll have a bit of a clean up of this one, and sort of next time I do a water change, get on the steps and suck out a few of those dead snail shells. There is an assassin snail in here, hence all the dead shells. Monday the 3rd of June 2024. So I've been doing a little bit of work in the shrimp room. So I've got the float valves on the last two tanks and plumbed them in. So what I've done, I don't know if you can see this, the black pipe going down, I've just took a T, I've cut into that and put a T-piece. I'm having to watch these because I haven't set them yet. But that's all my tanks now, for now. all connected up, so easy water changes hopefully. So as well as fitting them, I've done something with the lids so that the front is lower than the back on the two sliders, so that I do need to cut them, the glass, but I don't need to cut out the big patches like I've done on the other ones. And that's as part of that, these 4 tanks, so those 4 there, the boards down, have had water changes, as have those bottom 2. I didn't water change the top one, but all that's connected on one circuit. I do the Neos differently. But what else we've done is we've so in this terrarium, the peace lily, the leaves were starting to look really yellow, almost like they were deficient in nitrogen. So what I've done is, round the back, it's difficult to see from here. So the other thing was this here. This is a root. So this is a searching root coming off that peace lily. It's actually looking for food, and it's sort of come up over the branch. So what I've done, I've put a couple of spoons of, not spoons, sort of little tubs of worm castings over the top, and I've sort of done similar. You can probably see this better. So you see how it's all dark down there. I put some worm castings over the top, so that will give it a nitrogen feed. And as well as doing that, let's go to the other one. As well as doing that, I've done a little bit of a change to this terrarium. So I've built the middle up a bit higher. I've added some topsoil. So this is just organic topsoil, and I've sort of built up the hole at the back. So I'm not sure if these bromeliads need to be buried or not. I've got a feeling they don't. They've got a shallow root structure. So what I've done, I've actually filled the holes where the other plants were, and I've literally just lifted them up and sat them on the soil. And then if they need to do what they need to do, they need to do it, type thing. Same with the one in the corner, although I think once they're flowered, they're sort of on the way out, and that had flowered. And then I had a new plant arrive. So this is just a golden pothos cutting, and that's been sort of, I've put a bit of topsoil in, I've put the plant in, and then I've covered it in topsoil. So I need to keep the roots pretty wet on that one. And as if you haven't seen this already, I've got some air plants sort of scattered around the place. So that middle one's an air plant. But again, I got these and they're all dried up and shriveled. So I've soaked them in water as you're supposed to. And the bases of these are sort of coming away. I don't know if that's how they sort of grow. The bottom sections just drop away and fertilise back to the plant. I'm not sure, but I've had that happen. So if you look at this one, I think this one's dead. But all the sort of base, excuse the green hands, all the base leaves have sort of just pulled away. I've literally just stuck that there to see how it does, but I have soaked it, and it hasn't. I don't know how it's doing, to be honest. And the same as this one. So if you see, the bottom leaves have just come away. I've just stuck that in there with the spider for now, and see how that goes anyway. Tuesday the 4th of June 2024, and yes, you're right, you can see that some shrimp have been dripped. So they're not new shrimp. I've taken the remaining 12 of the spotted head pintos out of this tank of Aquasolam. pH is still 5.7, so that's doing fine, and I've moved them down onto some environment soil. So this tank's been set up for a while, and just wanted to sort of start moving stuff around so I can sort of flick between tanks and so on and so forth. I have done a deal for some new shrimp today, and I need to get that sorted, and the tank's ready to sort of move them around. I think the long-term plan is that I'm going to select some blue bolts for here, and then I may either sell off the colony or move my other blue bolts into the mixed tank, and I'm not sure yet. I've got some low-grade fancy tigers down here, and they may end up in the mixed tank. I'm going to try and sort of give myself as much in the way of tanks to do selection and stuff with. So the Galaxy tank I'm leaving for now because there are a load of babies in there, so I'll give it a couple of weeks and then I'll probably move out what I can and reset that tank. But this time, if I remember, I am going to actually slide them out, give them a real good clean, start from scratch and paint the backs that blue colour because I have got quite a bit of that paint that I bought. I'm also going to get some more black paints for the racks and finish painting the racks, these cream ones. So this is such. And then just to finish off, I've been out today, and if you have a look at the back of there, I don't know how well we can see that. So obviously the glass doesn't shut, and what I've done on previous tanks is I've cut out what looks like a toilet. I don't think I need to. I just need to sort of change the front one to be the lower of the two in the slider. And now that I'm not back on my feet, but I've actually managed to do a couple of local journeys in the car, which I haven't done for ages. I went out to B&Q and bought a sheet of 4mm polycarb, so 4mm polycarb, which is perfect because the sliders will take, I think they take up to 5mm actually, but 15 quid from B&Q. I do need to cut them to size, and obviously I'll cut a little notch out in those so they push all the way back rather than, and I'll probably end up doing some of the others as well actually. So the ones that are currently cut out where they've got a big vent for the float valve to come up, if I change the way they go round, I'll have a look, and hopefully I'll be able to completely close those in without them sort of sticking on. Need to get those cut. I usually get this stuff off Amazon, but it just works out so expensive, and or the same price and horrendous shipping costs. So it was nearly the same shipping cost as one sheet. But I went to B&Q and got one. They've got it in stock. If I need more, I can go and grab another. It's 15 quid a sheet, and I'll probably get 1 to at least 4 tanks out of that, maybe 5. I'm probably going to end up going and buying another one because I want to do a few changes to the stuff that I've currently got. So again, if we look down here, I've cut out a big sort of slot, and with sort of hindsight, unless the top of that valve actually sits above the water, which it doesn't, it's quite low, then I don't need to cut those slots out. So I might end up redoing all these anyway. And anyway, that's it for Monday. The few lower grade bolts / steels all seem to be doing fine. They're definitely eating this sort of decaying algae. So that's that done, and I know exactly what I'm going to do with the bottom rack. Obviously I've got Pintos in one of them, but I know what I'm going to do with the rest of that bottom rack once I've moved everything around. Wednesday the 5th of June, so tasks for today are to cut some polycarb for the reverse of those 2 tanks, and I need, hopefully if I've got enough in me, I need to get the snails out of that tank and moved into another tank, and then I'm going to empty and slide that tank out, paint the back of it, and do a reset on that tank. So that's the tasks for today, and possibly do a video on resetting the Apera pH pen, how to calibrate the Apera pH pen and TDS pen, but you have to keep an eye open for that one. As you saw from the video of the tank painted, so that tank's emptied and out. Just got it outside, waiting for the back on that to dry. I've painted that blue. Still need to either recycle the soil or get rid of the soil and bin it. And then finally, this was what I put the video on for. So finally, I just wanted to show you this. So as you can see, there's sort of 2 slots in there, and I've made sure that I've cut the polycarb so that it it on, well, put it in so it sits on the, you know, above. And then if I just pull this back a sec, I don't know if you guys can see that. So I've literally just cut a small slot out so that what happens is it pushes all the way back. It's difficult to see that, but it pushes all the way back, so I'm not losing condensation like cutting the whole thing out as I previously did. So I'll get the other one of those done, but that's me signing off for today. And on that note, I'll end this week's video. I'll continue on with the work. It'll be in future videos, but as always, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button, like the video, leave a comment. We'll answer all the comments. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye-bye.